So, let's move to the contents. As you can see, our presentation is separated into 5 parts. The first one is about how we use the all exhibition halls. The second one is about technological and managerial approach, so we'll see all the details, all the things you must know. The third one is about examples of use, so you will actually see why it's so important to use them as the laboratory complex. The fourth one is about smart city and how it works with the exhibition center. It's quite simple and understandable. The last one is all about economics, so you will see just like a bitter taste of economics. Well, okay. Let's get straight to our presentation, please. And we're going to talk about the special area of laboratory. What was designed for this? What's the point of this actually? So, first things are about the local views of laboratories, how they look like on the map, and also their locations. So, as you can see on this map, we're talking firstly about the small areas. And they are very good for singular presentations, maybe conferences, but nothing more. Maybe also for some working with laptops, computers, like making blueprints or mining information. The second category is about the medium-size structures. So it's all about the physical design and stuff, so you can actually do some real constructions there. It is good for, you know, those who would like to do some real physical and engineering experiments. The third group is big, really big. So it can actually fit a whole laboratory. So, as you understand, laboratory is a complex thing, really difficult to understand. So it must be like with rooms, with special areas for cleaning stuff, maybe to work with some hazardous materials. And let's move to the last category. It's really gigantic. Giant enough to inhabit like a whole thing for such interesting experiments like crash tests, maybe like jet engine tests, and handling hazardous materials and stuff. Okay, so here you can see actually the picture of crashing car, and now I would like to end my part and give the possibility to talk to my beautiful colleague. Please welcome Eleonora.
So we must make 100% out of halls we have. It requires advanced management. For controlling, planning, and collecting information about our customers, we use a customer relationship management system. Our administrator organizes work of halls, analysis needs of our customer, and find a suitable solution. And after that, a department of logistics handles as suppliers. And for exhibitions and laboratory researches, we need specific equipment and conditions. Each hall has a local network, so we can use the Internet of Things. Such things are the basic equipment of halls to control water, electricity, air conditioner, and also we can connect and also devices we use sensor. And a big and small hall has specific equipment and condition. Big small has equipment for crash testing example, and small halls have a special special equipment and condition like absolute darkness, vacuum, and advanced light of all colors and brightness. And and expenses. And what about our expenses? Expenses, it is the most part of all economics. And we have expenses of Brno Exhibition Center and expenses of the country. Expenses of Brno Exhibition Center consist of initial invest for equipment, salary for employees, and outsourcing. And expenses of the company consist of renting of halls and equipment. So.
There are several examples of using laboratory, for example, for businesses. On the next slide, you can see for agriculture and academies, universities, or medicine centers on the other slide. Testing, researching of R&D centers, and etc. Many examples.
So now about one of the very important things like the smart city. So our complex is quite an innovative thing, so it actually suits the smart city very well. So it's all about the openness, so we are open for new projects, for new jobs, and for new solutions. And we are taking a huge responsibility, of course, but we promise you, the smart system is quite smart, firstly, and simple. It's simple to use. And after all, the modularity means that we actually can replace the old stuff with new ones, so you can actually have no worries about this thing. So now about the risk matrix. Well, this is a very interesting idea because we actually invented this, let's say, way to count the risks. Now here you can see the list of risks is like the downfall of activity, overloading, complexity of tasks, and logistics. Well, of course, all these things are very important, but here you can see how the severity is dependent on the probability, and I'm quite yes. Yes, so we would like to thank you for listening to our presentations. We are very sorry for all the malfunctions that happened, but yeah, thank you for your attention. Thank you. Now we would like to answer all your questions if you have some. No. No, of course not. It's all about if the company is like booking one, it also has to bring some extra materials that it wants to have. Well, so the Brno Center must provide, of course, with some standard equipment like tribunes, like something like things for constructing things, but not more than the company needs. So actually, the point is that the company brings all the crucial materials like cars, for example, if it's crash test, the jet engines, of course, and so ultra durable walls if required, but it's all in the company, of course.
So thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to enhance maybe the part of examples of use of sensors.
Yes.
If you can provide some details, because I remember very nice Lego crash test. But if you can enhance some other examples to better understand your examples.
Of course. Well, it all depends on what kind of researches you want to see. So these are the very nice example for the researchers in a giant. You see the giant laboratory. So you need like a lot of place, a spaceable place to hold it, like to use it. Well, inside the giant places like the one we have on the P hole inside the Brno storage. Well, I'm very sorry. Inside the Brno Exhibition Center, you can actually do like testing the jet engines if you have, of course. And so also it's very important to work in a big place with hazardous and unstable materials, so it doesn't bang, or if it bangs, no one is hurt. Okay. Well, yeah, and that's what they're developed, well, designed for.
And maybe one question.
Please.
You get some operating modes of fairground center. So when there is some exhibition happening within the area, and as I remember well from your presentation, you used almost all space for labs. And what about if exhibition ground need that space, for example, for exhibition?
Okay, we're very sorry to be not so detailed. So we have like 6 minutes and that's it. But we would like to recall one thing from our presentation. It's the management. So we can actually arrange booking of halls, you see. And the point is that actually everyone books halls, and at the same time it's quite modular. So we can make a laboratory out of hall, then an exhibition center out of hall, of the laboratory, living room out of exhibition hall, and so on. You see, it's modular. It can be, it's flexible. It can be transformed into anything. Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you, I guess. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Maybe can you comment a little more about the business model, maybe the implementation to the Brno Fairground, how you see it, how it should be like managed from the business point of view? Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask if you thought about the surroundings of the area, or you thought just about the fairgrounds?
The task was to actually make something in BBB at first, and then expand it later. So we thought about that, and that's why the systems, the BBB is actually a testing ground. So by using this technology here, we tested if it's good. For example, a student invents some app that's very useful there, but and the Brno city wants to implement that app put it on a Play Store and implement it in public services. They can then push the app on different parts of the city, test it a little bit more. That's more than beta phase. And if it's very successful, it can actually be an app that will be used in future. As for the environment, there are lakes, and you have a lake near it, I think, and also parks. Streetlights can gather data from temperature and things like that, and we can use them, as he mentioned, for example, to air condition parts of the buildings. For example, we noticed that yesterday in the building from Rotunda, the first pavilion, it's very hot. It was very hot. So the thing is that we actually can gather the data from streetlights for temperature. For example, if temperature is 35 degrees Celsius outside, air conditioning systems can be automatically tuned based on that. So that's one of the things.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Before you start, please check your microphone. If it's turned on, it's for stream.
Hello, hello. We are doing it with the microphone? Hey. Okay, so it doesn't... Okay, but it doesn't sound like... Okay. Okay, good afternoon. We're Maria, Julio, Alberto, and I, Sergi, team of engineers presenting our project to transform the Brno Exhibition Center into a multifunctional infrastructure based on all kinds of sensors. Now, the main purpose of our project is to boost the technological landscape of the city and making a step forward in the pathway of Brno 2015 by implementing all kinds of sensor-based facilities. We expect to appeal all kinds of players in the industry of tech and science, which will mean improving our profitability and at the same time making the center more smart and more environmentally friendly. As you'll see, all our work is based in the same fundamental values of the Brno city ecosystem, making the most of the advantages of open data, multifunctionality, forward thinking, and of course, energy efficiency between other aspects.
So how are we going to do this? First of all, we plan to appeal to world-leading enterprises by selling them the unique set of conditions that has the exhibition center. For instance, you have a big, large, empty space, so it's risk-free for them, and it's equipped with sensors. But it also becomes crowded in temporary seasons, like with fairs, so they can test in real-life situations. Then we also want to encourage the technological hub that is becoming Brno by doing some kind of economical and financial agreements with startups that they have a smaller budget, so they can come to us, to our facility. And also, last but not least, we want a continuous collaboration with universities, local research centers, who are the ones who are going to help put Brno in the technological map. Finally, we're thinking of two kinds of events for the general public. The first one is oriented to talent acquisition and open data. It's like a hackathon, a competition where they have to build something around the data that the exhibition has from their sensors. And the second one is an open door journeys. For example, people from Brno can test their own small projects in the facilities. And here we have a little bit how we're planning to manage the sensor lab. The stakeholders would be the town hall, so they will own all the equipment, and we would have partnerships with different kinds of companies.
Yep. About the location, it will be situated in Brno, in a place quite isolated from the society, and it will have several pavilions and some offices that could be used by us and by some of the companies that will work in this place. We will have a strong facility, storage facilities, and an indoor testing pavilions as well. We'll have streets, which means that we'll have some robots which will drive all around the streets. And the area will have Wi-Fi all around and Bluetooth to connect all the sensors, and we will also have some sensors to control how many people is there and just to control a bit. And we will also have dots of sensors which can be moved from one place to another.
Well, in our center, we will have cutting-edge technology both for ourselves and our customers. For ourselves, we will be able to count all the people in each facility we have and the most frequent routes they do. In that way, we can study the analytics and try to sell this information and do it in a way that we can locate every single company where most people are walking through. About the traffic, we will be able to have robots that transport all the stuff from the storage to the place, because we will paint some lines on the floor, and these robots will be able to follow the lines. Finally, about the energetics, we will have solar panels, but self-oriented. That way, it will increase the efficiency. The next one, please. And what are we offering to our customers? First of all, as we have an excellent grid of roads, we think we have the perfect facility for an autonomous driving test. We also can help with 3D construction companies, because this will be like a cutting-edge technology in the next years. We can also improve the logistic companies, helping them with the drone technology inside our buildings, because it's safe. And finally, we can work along the universities and their research groups. Děkujeme.
So, thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask about the details about organization of the project. Do I understand it right that there will be some, that your laboratory is some sort of organization with the staff operating within the exhibition center, or it will be managed by the BVV staff, or there only will be people who will come and use some equipment? What's the basic concept?
Our idea is to have a separate team to work with all the equipment, like sensor-based equipment, and with the companies who come to test their products.
Well, but this separate team is within the BVB,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're also planning on having like small offices for the enterprises that come from the outside, that they have like a small place to work. But yes, the organization will be within the exhibition center.
And who will start the laboratory? Is it supposed to be the BVV or the city? Who will be the one to start the project?
Who can start the project?
The laboratory.
Could you rephrase?
Who will start the project? Who will start with getting the equipment, organizing? Who will make the things?
Initial, initial investment.
Yes.
Initial
yes.
investment from the VVV, and that will be paid with the companies who will test all their products and equipment in there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
So, and maybe one question, what about the first step, with this, that you prepare some nice examples, and what do you think that we should test in a very small area, for example, one of these examples, and see if this is working or in the real time, or do you think that we should directly go for the investment to some, bigger area with the sensors or something like that? What is going to be your proposal first step?
One of the advantages of the modularity is that you can invest in little phases, and you don't need to invest the whole thing at the first time. Just like some equipment at first, then some companies bring money in, so you can just go bigger and bigger with time in different phases.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question about some kind of interaction within the site and the surrounding, because you mentioned a lot of very interesting applications, and it's mainly focused on area itself. But there is a very important road going around and residential area and something like that. How you thinking about interactions within the area and surrounding?
Well, without the interaction, it will be at first in the area because it's like kind of testing, testing place. But afterwards, we'll see what happens. Right? So, yeah.
Hello. And what about the students in universities? Do you think that they will have to pay also, or it will be for free? Or
no, we're thinking of some kind of agreement, an economical agreement within the university and the exhibition center, so the students can actually use it for free. Any more questions? No? Yeah? That's it? That's it. So thank you. Thank you.
You cannot download it because it's on their disk. Open it. Okay, so I can ask them to come.
Can you make it a little bit? So when we should start, just tell us. Good evening, everyone. We are Team Ideal, and today we are going to present our Sensor Lab concept. We've decided to divide our concept into four main stages. The phase one will consist of adapting existing infrastructure, create power consumption optimization, and install an IoT wireless communication setup like the LoRa in order to connect all the sensors that will be mounted onto the streets of the BVV. In the second stage, we will build a test facility and we will make it a test facility in order to analyze the results and see if the approach is good for the BVV. In the phase 3, we are trying to move to more BVV buildings with our technology and to tear down existing storage facilities in order to make room for newer buildings. Also, we will use testing facilities as storage units, and in the beta program, we will join in incubators and startups. In the phase 4, we are going to dream big. We want to integrate the public transport connection in order to test also public transport means of transport like trams and buses onto the site in order to make the public transport in Brno more effective. All right, so
what about how much space do you use? First of all, we will use one of the BVV building to build our lab. After that, we'll build test facilities equipped with underground parking, and after that, we will demolish the deposit halls. The administration is very simple. We thought about the faculty and the BVV voluntary will share the ownership, and that will be great for both of them.
So how are we going to make money? First of all, we are going to give the technology and data to the BVV. BVV will provide in exchange testing space and infrastructure. We will provide testing space and infrastructure and also data and technology to companies or universities or research centers. In exchange, we are going to receive either money, either technology that will be installed on site and will remain to the BVV facilities. Also, we are wanting to stream data to the public of Brno in order to see how their smart city is going on. We want to create a dashboard for the citizens of Brno in order to see how their city is growing and how their city is becoming smarter and smarter every day. Also, in the technology area, we would like to implement two big guidelines. We would like to implement the development center. We've talked sooner with that laboratory, and also we would like to create test grounds inside BVV. We would like to make all the streets inside BVV available for mounting infrastructure, smart city infrastructure. We would like to create only the bases in order for companies to integrate their solutions onto the streets of BVV.
In our laboratories, we will be able to test the following: power consumption optimization, heating system optimization, public transport testing, waste management. For example, we thought of testing recycle bins with level sensors that could call the garbage disposal every time it is full, or traffic and the crowd movement optimization by testing either smart lighting or substation redesign, autonomous vehicles. As for possible candidates, General Electric is already a partner of BOT, and we would also benefit from a partnership from Valeo, which is an automotive supplier, which could help us with the testing of our autonomous vehicles. I mean, they're already testing smart cars, so why not test it in our facilities?
What about the money now? We were thinking that we could get funding from Brno City Hall funds and maybe some European funds, because it's a project for a big city. And maybe after just starting the business, we could use that revenue we've been making to fund the project on way. Okay. We made a SWOT to analyze our strengths and weaknesses. Apparently, we're smart city supportive. We use simplicity as a new complicated using already existing technology. And we address a high range of businesses. Our idea is usually scalable, and we can use existing outside and inside fairs infrastructure. As an opportunity, we can always expand, and we can empower local startups by using them for publicity, and we can lower BVB's operational costs. This is how our timeline looks like, and that would be it. Questions?
So, what's it now? Thank you very much for your ideal presentation. It's very, very fast to get through, but from the first look, it's quite impressive. One thing you mentioned, very simple structure, BVV and university together, and there is some for me some gap later that you mentioned that the money goes from city. Should we involve the city into some kind of steering board of this?
We thought that some part of the money will come from the city because the city is the main stakeholder of the BVV, so that's the reason why we've mentioned the city, but the money will be raised by the BVV in partnership with the university, and then we are trying to self-fund this laboratory.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I got interesting in this timeline. The first thing is crowdsourcing. Can you comment a little bit why you are trying to apply this and how?
Because we want to be open to as many companies as possible and as many startups as possible, we would like to gather at first the ideas. We would like to firstly know what are the necessities of the companies around Brno in order to know what we have to adapt at BVV in order to make it suitable for those companies. Because we won't like to adapt all the infrastructure and then realize that some parts of the BVV aren't useful for anyone. So that's the reason why we would like at first to know what are the needs.
Okay, and how I can imagine this kind of crowdsourcing, like Idea Labs or whatever.
So, there are a lot of incubators around town, and also we've heard that there's an association for the South Moravian region that connects all the companies, and we would like to relay our crowdsourcing campaign through those organizations in order to reach as many companies as possible. And also we would like to create an open campaign coordinated by the Brno Council and Brno Town Hall in order to help this thing move on faster.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Okay, thank you very much.
Hello everybody, we are DDLP and we're going to present our sensory laboratory. Okay, this is the index, so the main idea, our case study. And basically this is our business model canvas that we did to understand which are the keys of our project. And our sensory laboratory is placed in the BVV Trade Fair Brno, and it has partnership as well with the University of Brno and with the Brno, the city hall and the public transport system as well. So here you can see all the keys, activities, etc. But I would like to focus on the fact that despite engineers and technicians in the laboratory, we want to put students and the researchers as well, so that they can do their traineeship there, and so that we can grow the Brno network of students abroad, foreign students. This is where we want to locate the laboratory. In the IT department, we have the server room that we can use that is already there. After, we can use old offices that are not fitable for exposition, and there is the technical department as well that could be used. And now let's talk about the first thing where we want to use the center, the indoor navigation. Well, when we see the exposition, we take advantage of center. That means are positions, the special position center.
user can choose which standard you want to visit and use the feedback in the application, the best path to receive all these standards. And this is the best path because when the user goes close to a people, the telephone will automatically send this data to the best server. That takes, in this way, advantage of the position of the user in the frame, so we can give the user the best path to visit to work in this position. And here you can see even the alternative path, the gray one, that we want to use for the accessibility. This is a very important thing in this situation. So, user with disability can choose the alternative path to visit what they want to use. Another important thing is the security. In our application, the user can understand which is the best way to go out of the building in case of emergency. And another important thing is the plan, where the city of Brno can take advantage of these data, and with big data and machine learning analysis, we can plan, for example, the next year phase. And now let's talk about the public structure, where we want to add on the bus near the already present GPS sensors, the CO2 emission sensor. Because in this way we can link these two types of data to reduce the pollution in the city and to understand the reason on this one. And another important thing in this is the accessibility. Because with the GPS sensors, for example, blind people can take advantage of these sensors to understand when they are on the bus, in which stop they are, and so they can stop where they have to go.
And the last, but not the least, we want to talk about parking. Basically, we want to create a parking sensor system that can avoid traffic congestion, because we all know that during exposition there is a lot of traffic, lot of congestion. So we want to do, basically in the parking, we understand that if the car is parked or not, and so that with this video it could be more clear. And go back, okay. So that we understand if the car is parked or not. And in your application, you see where are all the empty places, and you can go there without congesting all the traffic all around Brno. After, you can take the public transport as well. You get this information on the application, the tramway, the bus that you have to take to go through to go to the exposition fair. And so, thanks for the attention, and let's make Brno the Silicon Valley of Central Europe. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you for the presentation. If I understand it well, so your solutions are basically to test them in the laboratory and then expand it in the scalable way to the use in the city. Can you comment a little bit about the business model, about how this testing lab should work? You show on the start the business canvas. Maybe if you can comment a little bit more about it, how the revenue streams goes, for the laboratory.
Okay, you mean you're speaking about the testing and after how it's...
Yeah, the organization of the laboratory itself, that you test in the laboratory something, so that means that it brings the money or something like that,
Okay, yes, the laboratory is part of the BVV, so it's basically inside the organization, it's a department of the organization, and administratively speaking, it's of them. And after, I wanted to be in partnership with the university as well, so cooperation with the professors, and so that they can send students for the traineeship, as I said before. And after they can, about the testing that we can do over in the sensor, we have a lot of open place in the exhibition center that will be used, especially in when it's not crowded. I mean, we know that sometimes in the year it's very crowded, the exhibition center. So when it's not, it could be used.
I want to ask that the revenue stream of this laboratory can be the selling of data, because it is always used to get data for the machine learning and data science applications, so they can be bought by external companies as well, because the data is owned by the BBB, BBB, so it has all of the copyright and you can send the results really easy.
Yes, you can do both of them. I mean, you can grow the laboratory itself. I mean, to improve the exposition, action, like thanks to big data that you catch. But after it, as he said, data can be sold to other companies outside that are interested in this kind of data.
Can you give us more examples about using the laboratory, in the whole area of BVV, for I don't know, for universities, for students, or something like that? You mentioned some applications about, about parking and about the indoor navigation, but do you have any more examples?
Another example can be to use the whole area as a test environment for automatic cars that can use the same system used for people, but with beacon inside the car, so we can track them throughout the whole area, and the cars can both send and receive data about the cars, so they can make paths. They can actually make paths to go automatically to where the user say it where to go, and the auto just carries the user there, and it can be used like when the field is not used by other events, the whole area can use this kind of testing on automatic cars.
So should we begin? Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team HRW, and we are here to present you our solution of today's case study. First of all, some basic introduction. During the brainstorming, we have formulated some demands of the involved subjects. Of course, one of them is BVV, which is eager to reduce their operational cost. Companies, on the other hand, they want to be seen, and also they want to test their products. City Brno they looks to be a trendsetter in smart solutions, and people or citizens of Brno want to be safe and secured. Last but not least, the academic sphere, they are looking for a research-friendly environment. Yesterday we saw Pavilion Y, which was used as a model of Pavilion Z, and we are inspired by this approach, so we also kind of use it. As you can see here, our aim is to use BVV, the whole area of it, as a model of futuristic smart city Brno. And good question is why to use it. So there are lots of visitors during the year in BVV, and it is useful for dealing from the point of crowd management point of view. Also, there is quite significant energy consumption in BVV, so we can find out ways how to reduce this energy consumption. Waste is another part of it, and also we want to keep Brno a safe place.
So let me introduce our precisely chosen brand, which is SenseLab, and the technical background behind it. We are going to install, here you can see the plan of the BVV Fairtrade, and we are going to install multiple sensors, such as smart building related sensor, air pollution, weather condition, or other motion sensors. Of course, they are going to communicate wirelessly with the usage of IoT protocols such as LoRa or Sigfox. Our concept is really simple and feasible because apart from the sensors, we are going to install only data center in already existing IT department, which will gather and collect all the data from all over the place. We are also going to make a PR center which will communicate to public, and they will present our concept and ideas to public, and also the whole concept of the smart city Brno in the future. So our future plan, the first step is present our idea or concept at Urbi Smart City Fair 2018, where we'd like to present it to public and companies, do some simple market research, and we can find some sensor suppliers and convenient IT developers. Of course, our concept also counts with a smart application called MySense. First of all, the smart city concept should be open and should serve the people. So on the one hand, all the people could have access to it and can check the features such as weather conditions, inside environment in pavilions such as temperature and humidity, also path optimizations based on overcrowded pavilions, and also other helpful features such as a safety button, which could easily call first aid or security. It's also supposed for tech staff who could easily monitor and control all the area. But safety first, so we should really deal with the security of our app because the data could be really easily abused.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to introduce you technical economical analysis. First of all, the Brno is going to invest into SenseLab. The SenseLab, with his own budget, will invest into, for example, buy a data center because it's necessary because of the safety, and the companies will invest their time and money and skills to find out solutions, and those solutions could be used for future smart city Brno. We expect the approximately investment will be 40 million crowns. If you look closer to the numbers, you can see there's a really big opportunity to save in energy, and the payback will be approximately 5 years.
Okay, let me conclude our presentation. in our humble opinion, we have accomplished more or less everything that we were asked for. And here you can see the pillars of our case study. I think there's nothing to add. So thank you for your attention, and we are looking forward for your questions.
Thank you for your presentation. If I understand it right, you expect the basic investment to come from the city, and the payback coming from the savings, from the energy savings and such.
The Brno city is already investing their time, and I expect they're investing money into the future expo, which is connected with this solution, and also the BVV is going to invest their own money, because you can expect savings in energy consumption and so on. So the investment goes from Brno and BVV together.
Thank you.
I would like to add that apart of the savings, there is also a huge potential with marketing, because we can, of course, like it should be like ethical selling of data to big companies with the big data, because I think that there will be really.
Can you specify what sort of big data we can gather that the companies should be interested in?
Of course, there are some personal data, which you can't share, but some of the data, for example, the weather, as I may say, or traffic, or things like this. The IT companies, they are looking for solutions when they get the data and find, for example, how to predict the future ups and downs of the specific quantity. So, for example, it is way how to predict, or I may say, maybe air pollution. So you can. It's not very common today. We predict weather, but in the future we may predict more and more quantities because of this kind of solution.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. So, as I understood, the sensors will be there like temporarily, or there will be there. You know, if some client can come to the lab and just install some other sensors, or there will be just one sensors for using for all the clients.
No, yes, no, you are right. They are dismountable because they are wireless, as we said. Everybody which is kind of interested in testing their sensors, they are able to ask BVV, and if it is if there is nothing like I'm sorry. If it's okay, for example, as I said, from the personal point of view, so it doesn't affect people. The BVV accepts it, and the company can install the sensor and test it for the specific quantity.
And I can add that the sensors must be permanent, because those sensors are necessary to make a real-time analyze to savings in energy. You have to analyze the temperature in the hall all the time. You can't just last year it was 25 degrees, so put it out. It's not possible.
Yeah, but as I said, it's dismountable. But of course, for some of the quantities, it is better to keep them on their place all the time.
Well, I meant if some, I don't know, university or some student or some other client can just come to the BVV and test some completely other thing, not about the sensors they are there, weather and temperature and everything, but completely different.
I'm not sure whether I understood the question, but you're asking like what is the possible cooperation between the university and our science lab, or how?
No, I mean, if I don't know, university wants to use the sense lab, but they don't want to use your sensors or sensors they are there. They just want to bring some other thing and test it there. You mean I don't know, some cars or I don't know, completely different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like we are of course like open to installation also other types of sensors, the one that they prefer, and they could install their own sensors, and we could of course gather the data from them. But I would like to also add that there are also like a lot of data from like traffic jam and like the people behavior and some other stuff. Yeah. I would like to say that probably the most innovative part is that we are able to connect all the parts, like involving the city Brno, also the academic research, also the industry in one big concept and project, and we can easily cooperate, share a lot of data, and there is a huge space for improving other ideas and proposals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
So hello everyone, my name is Yazan Mahaini, and we are Team Nuremberg Silicon Valley, and we are proud to introduce to you the Eye of Brno. In the Eye of Brno, we don't use common sensors, we create our own. So first of all, let's talk about classical sensors. Classical sensors, we know counters, cameras, temperature and pressure sensors, and so on. The problem with these sensors is that they sense only objects in their sensing path. In order to create the best sensing experience and testing experience, we wanted to create a sensor that knows everything in its surrounding. In order to do so, we used the concept of self-driven cars. Self-driven cars have cameras and sensors that detect movement, objects, they also recognize objects, and of course, they expect routes and the body movement. In order to integrate this in our project, we created a huge sphere in which the cameras and sensors will be inserted, along with air and temperature sensors that which will be discussed further. This sphere will be put on a pillar. This pillar will be inserted at different sections of the exhibition area. The area of these sections will be calculated according to the number of buildings and parkings in this section, and of course the height of the pillar will be calculated in the same manner. Here we created a random order of pillars. This can be changed, like I said, accordingly. And once again, we will insert a much smaller version of this Eye of Brno inside the exhibition rooms on the ceiling, so we can have a sense of the atmosphere inside the exhibition rooms. Now, this means that we will know each and every shape, movement happening inside or outside the exhibition area, whether it's a person, it's a car, or even anything lying on the ground. Now, to sum this up, the eye itself will detect motion, speed and path, number of objects, places of each and every object, and the type of this object and what it is. The air and temperature sensors will detect pollution, air rate, air speed, and temperature and amount of sunlight hitting this sensor. Now, with time, we will not only collect data, but we will analyze it and process it to provide solutions. Our computer will be providing solutions based on the data we collected, and on the long term, we will have a huge number of data in order to improve our recognition. Now, in order to see how this will be managed, we created a flowchart. Data will be collected, analyzed, and processed. A solution will be provided by our computer. And because we are living in the generation of the Internet of Things, this will be stored in the M Cloud. We have 4 types of clouds. The M Cloud is the cloud, the main cloud, accessible by us, the exhibition people. This will contain information about the exhibition, as well as the companies testing in the exhibition area. Then a filter will happen in order to make the C Cloud. The C Cloud is the cloud containing information about the companies testing, excluding our information. Then a filter will also be created to produce the U Cloud. The U Cloud is the university cloud. Now, according to the data the companies want to provide or deduct, we will have a cloud with some information from the M Cloud, some information from the C Cloud. This is accessible by universities, research and development centers. And finally, we have the B Cloud. The B Cloud is accessible by citizens. B stands for Beautiful Brno. Citizens will be able to manipulate the data they can see and help improve their city and innovate in this field. Now my colleague Anas will continue with the benefits of our project.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about the contribution to client groups, 3 groups, which are the military Brno, the BVV, the clients who have testing purposes, and the sensor developers. Please. Okay. As the mayor mentioned in his presentation yesterday, the main goal is to make Brno the best city in Czech Republic and maybe even in whole Europe. So we took his words into consideration, and we found out if we make a better image and reputation of the exhibition, we will help him achieve his goal. So by collecting more data, we can improve ourselves more, and then if we improved ourselves, we would be able to attract more companies to take a place in our exhibition. Please. Okay. 3 benefits for the exhibition: saving energy and optimizing resources, avoiding future problems, and open and develop new test areas. I'm sorry for the examples, but because of the time. Okay. And we have benefits for the competition for the companies itself. We have the hologram drone that was mentioned before. That will give a better life experience for the, for example, self-driven cars, for the companies that build and design cities, campuses. They can have a really life experience using the hologram. Okay, and last, the sensor developers. Sensors can be put in action, and which we can we can benefit from this, and the sensor companies can also benefit by testing their sensors in our sphere. Okay, my colleague.
I'm gonna wrap it up because we don't have time. Sorry. So we're going to work all around the year, in summer and in winter also. So in summer, because of the weather, we can't receive exhibitors. So we're dedicating the whole exhibition to the university students. So in the winter, it's going to be all for the companies, and we're going to collect and provide data to the companies. And in the when we buy when we sell them the C Cloud, we're going to benefit and make business from this motion eye. The feature of Smart Brno is first of all, it's the openness, so the Brno Cloud, and the application. So the application, it's going to provide us the current events and maybe going live in the current events and allowing the citizens all to see what's going on. So the second of all, the effectiveness and diversity. So we support the startup from our data, so the students can use our data to build a startup and innovative ideas. And the thoughtfulness, it's all about environment. Actually, we don't impact anything, but however, we do a lot of improvement. It's just like saving energy while turning the light off. And the responsibility, so it's the successful Brno sphere and the new security measures and the high life quality. So for the modularity, please. So because of our individual and unique method, so we have the individual way of working. And I will end up we will end up our presentation with this quote. America has its own Silicon Valley. Our aim is to establish our own. Thank you so much.
Okay, I have a question. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. My question was, will be focused on one thing, about organization things. So, very interesting, how do you George Lucas world with spheres and something like that. I loved it. But who will organize it and how we can start it?
Actually, the organization will be done by us. As you saw, the principle is not really hard. It's basically basic. We're just having a new implementation for the sensors and the eye of Brno. We can calculate. Actually, if we had more time, we would have been able to calculate the areas depending on the coverage, how much the eye would cover, and how high it would be. So organizing and building it would be mainly organized by us, the exhibition people. I hope I answered the question right, because and the materials we're going to use are provided in the market, easy to find in the market. So we were planning on using this.
Do you have any basic idea of the financing? Because as you have this system, it can be, if I got it right, it can be developed step by step. You just need to cover the area and start the Eye of Brno. So what is your idea of financing?
Regarding financing, like I said, the materials shouldn't be that expensive. The things that this project would save us, whether it's bringing more business to the exhibition, whether it's bringing more exhibitors. The examples, we didn't have time to explain the examples more, but this should bring much more exhibitors to the exhibition, much more companies to invest in testing in our labs. So we thought, and the materials are not expensive, so paying a certain amount of money we will have a huge recovery, a really fast recovery time to recover this money. Financing should be done by us or the government of Brno, and the refund will be really quick.
Thank you.
Can I answer something? So like when the exhibitor comes, so through this eye, the Brno eye, so we are knowing every client where is standing and what he's aiming to buy. So throughout this huge data, we can benefit a lot from this data. I think we're going to have feedback in the next week.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. So we are the French participants. Let me introduce you Florian. You have Fabien, Paul, and me, Damien. So we are from Brno, and we will talk today about the case study of a sensory laboratory at the Brno Exhibition Center. So what does that mean? So the Exhibition Center wants to be used in a few years as a laboratory for tests on different kinds of sensors. So we have to use as much space as possible of this Exhibition Center for this laboratory. So for this sensor, we wanted to use technology that is in the current trend of innovation, which is the Internet of Things. So the which is really efficient because you don't have cables all over the places, and the information collected by the sensors will be transferred to gateway, and then will be transferred to server where they will be stocked and used for data processing. Another part that we found interesting is that we can use the smartphone location tracking. In fact, when a telephone is searching Wi-Fi, you search for an IP signal and you can detect this phone. And there are really good, efficient uses for it, and we will talk to you about that later. So, for the spatial organization, there is only one installation to be made. It's a gateway that we found interesting to be installed in the hall F, which is in the center of the exhibition center. So you can have a connection to all the buildings, all the hall, and it's really easy to collect the data from the different sensors. And why is it easy? Because you only have to, it's really simple. You have the sensors, you have the gateway, and you can place the sensor wherever you want and whenever you want. You can plug it and unplug it. You can fix it on the place they need to be. With a little programmation, it's easy to do. So about the financial feasibility aspect of the project, so you can see that it's not very expensive, a gateway. The sensor, it depends on the kind of sensor, of course, but you have to put the gateway antenna, and for that, for it to be the most efficient as possible, you have to place it about 3 or 4 meters up. So we checked around the whole F, there is enough space to do it, and it's the only big investment to do. About the sensor, you have, for instance, the air quality sensor for the convenience of visitors, and you have also CO2 sensor, which can be used not only for automation and ventilation, but also for counting people in buildings. Maybe not in the big hall, because the change of people is too fast for the sensor. It's not sensitive enough, but you can use it for conference hall or smaller rooms to count very efficiently the number of people.
From a project management point of view, we suggest BVV to implement in sensory laboratory like a brand new department, but a department that will work closely with the other department. For the technical and IT department, it will be in charge of implementing the different sensors. We can see that they can offer some opportunities to give new services for their customer. For example, with the with the events department, the two event departments, we can provide some real-time logistics with a logistics center that can oversee all the resources in real time, to provide some order for the human resources or the resources more quickly and efficiently, and some resource optimization. With example, with the data, we can make some calculus for the MSV, for example, to increase the emplacement of different stands. And with the building rentings, we can offer to this company that just rent the buildings to some companies some data to make their own analysis. This laboratory will work closely with the stakeholders. For example, with the startups, the R&D centers, and the academia, we can develop some cutting-edge technologies with partnership. And we have with the city, we can have call for projects. For example, with a big show, we can ask for companies to develop some sensor for the roads, in order to have a real-time traffic. And for the Brno inhabitants, we can offer them to the guys who live near the gateway to offer some open hardware. In conclusion, we have a cheap modular with low-range sensor solutions that can provide new services, and we have a strong connection with stakeholders. Thank you for your attention. You are ready for the question.
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask, can you tell us more about the business model? Who would be the clients? What will they use? How? Thank you.
The business model, I mean, there is one part where maybe laboratories, academia want to test their sensors. So there will be a partnership with the exhibition center. So the exhibition center will allow them to use the center for testing the sensor. And if they found its potential, it can be used for them later. There can be a partnership. You are allowed to use the areas to test them, but in exchange, we want some example. We want have some when the product is finished and when you have done some tests.
I have a question about relation or interaction of the space of area of trade fair and the surrounding area. So you are focusing on some kind of sensors within the area. Do you think about some application which involves the surrounding?
That was the application, for example, with the Call4 project, with the sensors on the road. But we think that we offer the opportunity to Brno inhabitants to collaborate with the project, with the possibility, with the discussion with the mayor to have access to the gateway and have the open hardware. That's the principle of the open hardware. They can have their own sensors, work with it, have a project with it, and then give the results to the to BVV or the mayor for their own analysis too. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, one of our friends couldn't come for couldn't come. Hello, we are here to introduce our new system on the establishment of the new project of laboratory in the exhibition center. This laboratory going to introduce some innovations to make the life quality better and using some new and sustainable technologies. So let's make this beautiful city smarter. Here you can see the Gantt chart of our project. So in the first few months, you can see that we are going to establish our team and network. Then, using these teams, we are going to research about the market, and using some of these research materials, we are going to start our reconstruction of buildings and infrastructure. So when we achieve something, we are going to invite our customers to work in our labs. Also, we are going to make an annual event on this topic in our fair, in our buildings. The most changes in the management team are going to be in the technical department and marketing and external affairs department. So external departments is going to establish stable and long-term relations with stakeholders, which are business world, academia world, R&D centers, and city and government. Business world is our potential customers, which are going to pay for usage of our system. So these are going to be the root of our finance. Academia world, we are going to provide them from the close universities, which are qualified personnel on the chemistry, electronics, IT, and etc. We are going to also work with R&D centers like GIS, which are going to help us to find new startups and new projects about technological innovations. And the last one, but not least, and city and governments, we are going to work with them to have a good legal and security base. And the last one is about technical department. They are going to make some research about the changes that are going to go on, and they are going to find the best ways to implement them.
Thank you. We selected Hall C and Hall E for our laboratories. It is stated that excessive daylight makes our Hall C inappropriate for exhibition. So we are going to build our laboratories, Hall C, whose scope is we choose the cellular layout because, by the way, we are going to choose the cellular layout because of its advantages. We are going to install the responsive lighting system, which works with the motion sensors to regulate the brightness of the bulbs according to the number of people. In Hall E, it is pretty much the same. The only change is the subject of it. Also, in other words, its scope. We should match infrastructure with our resources.
Sensor laboratories has three potential clients. First, VBB can use IR and motion sensor in entrance gates, and by the help of IoT, they can take this data from sensors, and by using this data, they can provide better security services, better catering services, and they can save energy. And but as an example of second client, Skyline company is the best example. It is the company which can provide smart car parking system, and also some manufacturers of autonomous cars can provide bus transportation system in VBB, within VBB. And the third example is Evreka. Evreka is a company which produces sensors by analyzing the fill rate of garbages. And by using this system, VBB can optimize the waste management, and they can save energy, reduce fuel consumption. To sum up, our system is feasible, practical, effective, and smart, and it is the best way to achieving Best Brno 2050. Thanks for listening. If you have any question, we will be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much.
We have given a flip chart actually, and we can get it. So if it's possible, we can explain what was completed. We gave the revision on this. But there's no one. Can we find it? We gave it to them so that they will give them back, so that we will not work on it. I mean, it's not. Okay. We had a flip chart on a paper, and we gave the organization after the working hours so that they will bring. And just right now we forget about it and started without it. So if you have it, we can explain what was on it. Because I just wanted to ask if we can, if you're not allowing.
So thank you very much, because if we find it quickly, it's no problem, but if we not find it quickly, it's...
Okay, no problem. Let's go on. Maybe we'll find them.
Okay.
Okay.
If I can ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I like the presentation. I'm quite interested about how you cooperate with the surroundings in your applications. So can you give me some brief example of interactions with the sensors in your lab and the surrounding area?
You mean here? In the map or in
yes, and in the map you can see the surrounding, the roads and something like that. Did you think about some interactions between the sensors in area and in the surrounding roads or something like that?
Let's say like this: we are using these sensors not only just for some small research. I mean, the overall work is going to be in the overall area. Let's say, for example, we mentioned the transportation, so it's not going to be only here. It's going to be on the overall area. So the work, the project, a special project can be done on other places. Just these places are specified for the to make some laboratory to some experiments in small amounts, because they are not used in the as fairs area a lot. So they are not something special from others. They're just part of this big system, let's say.
Thank you very much.
What would be the organizational background of the project? You mean there will be staff, the laboratory staff, or it would be the BVV staff? How it will be organized?
We were
management issues.
We were planning to make the head of the BVV responsible for overall organization. But as we said, we have two departments which are mostly affected. So we are going to have maybe several employees extra for this works only. But in general, the head of BVV is going to manage it. Sorry.
I'm not sure about one thing. Will you have sensors all around the place, or just inside the buildings, or what kind of data you will collect?
Okay, it depends on the project actually. In general, for example, let's mention the first project, which is the lighting system, which turns on and off lights according to the motion of people. So it's in the building, this project. Another project is about manufacturers of autonomous cars. Okay, we are going to provide some autonomous cars. So they are going to be outside of the buildings, and we are going to it's like this. Evrica is about fill rate of garbages, so they are going to be in the garbage constructions or the boxes. So it depends on the project itself what it needs.
So everything will be temporarily?
Yeah, no. It's going to be work. I mean, forever if it's good. But we are not going to introduce something without usage. I mean, whenever it is needed, we are going to introduce, and it will work on this aim. Thank you too.
We find your poster so you can present if you like.
It's like not very much actually.
It's a representative layout of our laboratories. We choose the cellular layout because of these advantages. It gives better worker morale, it improvement in quality, less floor space, and so on. And these are the, for example, departments or some other things, maybe control types.
And this is the working mechanism of EBEC. They can after they take data from they can provide you from to truck and they can take.
Test.
Hello.
So good evening everybody. We're the team of Benelux and we're going to talk about pilot Internet of Things project that we want to hold in the exhibition center of Brno, and how we are going to extrapolate our ideas from the small scale to the big scale, namely the beautiful city of Brno itself. We based our solution on a few smart principles that are shown there in the Venn diagram. I also put the most important city in the center, and just for the fun of it, I also added Prague. The three principles, the first one is modularity. That means that the things that we're going to use are movable and replaceable. This also implies that we're not too dependent on one single supplier, so we're preventing vendor lock-in. Also, another good thing is that we don't necessarily have to fill the whole place with possibly expensive equipment, because you can easily move all the equipment around. The next thing we focus on is effectiveness, which means that our operational and investment costs are not going to be high, but still our solutions have a big impact. And lastly, we are also well aware of the responsibility we hold towards the next generation. That's why we base our solution also on sustainability. In addition, we also went for solutions that are broadly applicable, because we're actually using the exhibition center as a test case, and the solutions that get good results, we want to extrapolate it to the city of Brno, and in the end, beautiful Brno can serve as an example for other cities around.
So the first problem that we wanted to tackle was waste management. When you're holding an exhibition, you have a lot of waste generation. You have to build up the exhibition, you have visitors that bring garbage, and you also have to break down the exhibition. If this waste is handled properly, you can save a lot of money. main problems with garbage is the high cost because it has to be separated. We also want to have a optimal location of all the bins, and we only want to empty the bins when they're full. And a hot topic that solves these problems are smart bins. These smart bins have a sensor in the bin and combine this with labeled products. When we use this topic, we can monitor the content, so we can see, okay, this bin is full pretty quick, and we can put a lot of bins there, and we can also see, also see when it's full, so we can efficiently empty them. We can also, thanks to the location, thanks to the labels on the products, we can also optimize the recyclement, so everything is located as it should be, so glass with glass and plastic with plastic. This can lead to subsidies because it's sustainability. The governments will promote these things, which will drive down the cost of the investments. It will also reduce the cost of the waste, and it's good for the general image of the exhibition center because you are sustainable. The stakeholders in this project are, of course, the exhibition center itself and the waste transportation and waste processing companies. The waste processing companies are SACO because it's a company that processes the waste and generates energy from it. The labels are made by the WHP Technics, and if the project is successful, we can extrapolate it to the city of Brno.
So the second problem we were going to tackle is the localization of the exhibition visitors. So we want to find the density of the visitors throughout our exhibition. Why would we want to do such a thing? For 3 reasons, actually. We want to release an application to calculate efficient routes through to each attraction for all the visitors. Secondly, then we know where not many visitors come, so we can rearrange the exhibit to make less popular attractions more popular, and we can replace some attractions that aren't popular at all to increase the popularity and the quality of our exhibition. The third thing is modularity, which is a very important thing in our presentation. So we want to hire some food trucks to drive to the most crowded locations and sell their food there to optimize sales. So this is an example of all possible food truck locations, and then we start scrapping the least popular locations in function of how crowded our exhibition is. And so these 5 locations, for example, remain to sell our food. We're going to do this by human sensing, using different kinds of sensors, and we have a whole gamut of sensors. So we have no vendor lock-in because we have different possibilities. So we can test opportunities. So this gives a testing opportunity for different companies because lots of companies will have one or more of these kinds of sensors. And we can collaborate with the University of Brno. So we found 3 companies. Okay. We found these 3 companies who might be interested in this idea. That was our presentation. Am I still sensing some questions?
Thank you for a refreshing presentation. I would like to ask one question. What is your idea about the laboratory there? Because you tackled 3 very important issues, and I would like to push you to wrap up to some laboratory idea. Because if we are building some sensor laboratory out of this area, how would these 3 things should be tackled together? Who will be organized that?
So in fact, we want to use the infrastructure that's already there because that's the cheapest, and there are a lot of huge empty buildings in it. So for instance, the trash cans for the food trucks, we will place them based on the methods that we show. And the first thing, you can maybe show the slide. It's easier to the thing thing is we don't really understand the question because like we were planning to use the infrastructure and optimize it, like we told you, but
if I got it right, the question was how you will follow with the idea. You will, if you do one project, the waste management, it's successful, okay. Then you do another project, you optimize the food trucks, it's done. So how can you evolve the idea, go further on with the laboratory idea? Yeah, perhaps.
All right.
Yeah, that was the idea. Okay. Yeah, okay.
So our idea with the food trucks, for example, was to use existing camera infrastructure to monitor traffic, for example, cars, and then we would know where most cars are, maybe even pedestrians, and then we would know where to drive our food trucks. So it's the same principle, but with traffic instead of pedestrians, obviously.
Okay, so I get it. You in the area of trade fair, you tackle very important issue, what you want to solve in a city scale. So if I get it, so there is no physical. Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any idea how, for example, universities or students can use this area? Some other projects or something like that?
For instance, if you're like in electrical engineering and you're working with sensors, you can use, for instance, the lighting, like to, for instance, to dim the light when it's necessary. You can use sensors to estimate what is the sunlight and then regulate the whole lighting. Or if you want to focus on something in the exhibition, you can adjust that the lighting really emphasizes that thing. So that's, for instance, what students can do if they are an electrical engineer. And I think for every subject at school, you can find something in there.
And for example, for our application that finds the shortest routes, you might have different algorithms which come from traffic control research, which you can then try to exercise in practice, and you can see which algorithm is fastest.
So we'll begin our presentation about the establishment of the Sentence Laboratory in the Brno Exhibition Center. To begin with, we have an overview of our recommendation. We will rehabilitate a space inside the Brno Exhibition Center for the establishment of an approximately 10,000 meter square laboratory space. We will have an overview of our administration, technological and economic management for the whole project. And in the end, we respect all Smart City Brno initiative fronts. To begin with, when it comes to the space,
First of all, we identified that all major pavilions of the BVV are extremely important for the BVV trade fairs Brno to be utilized for their major fairs, and as such we won't be able to utilize those permanently for the laboratory. It wouldn't be good for the BVV, and as such we looked for alternatives. And one of the alternatives, and one thing that we know, is that the BVV is thinking about utilizing and renovating the space there marked with 1 and 2 for their logistics. And they believe that by renovating, the whole space could be compressed to just 1, which means that space number 2 would be available and open. And it means that we could utilize that space for a very sustainable solution, such as our laboratory. When it comes to the local overview, as you can see, there's a pavilion already with an area that would be very suitable for our 2-story structure of approximately 10,000 square meters, which we could demolish, and we could utilize the foundations for the establishment of the laboratory, and the area there in green or yellow could then be utilized for the establishment of a test track. When it comes to our administrational approach, you have a very succinct overview. We have a dedicated sensor laboratory management board, which would be working in very close proximity to the City Hall, and then it would have its designated areas of technical department, marketing and external relations, and scheduling and general management. And of course, all activities would be scheduled in accordance with BVV availability of their fairs to respect their needs as well. When it comes to our technological approach, we would begin with an initial survey to possible customers to identify their key areas of interests so that we could better cater for their needs when we have the laboratory. And in compliance with Smart City Brno initiative, we would have prioritized universities, SMEs, and Brno area startups when it comes to testing. And of course, we would divide the laboratory spaces in an administrative office, an IT office, because we know that sensors require a lot of statistics and data analysis, a large testing room of approximately 2,400 square meters, a utilities room, and the 4 key testing sections which were indicated that the city is interested in, which you can read there. And then when it comes to our economic approach, we made very rough estimates of initial costs and fixed costs from there on. All of our estimates are based in European level averages, current averages. And although the initial costs are extremely considerable, you can see that the total fixed costs are somewhat manageable, especially if we manage to establish partnerships and have private companies test there as well, which would be an increased source of revenue, which would make the whole project somewhat sustainable. When it comes to the examples that we found, to begin with, we have designed a crowd and people circulation system. We would install sensors at all entrances and exits of the BVV pavilions, which would allow us to improve our compliance with safety and fire regulations, which we know are extremely important for the BVV. And we also apply sensors to the outside of the pavilions, which would allow us to track the movement of the people outside, which would allow us to find the optimum locations for food trucks and other business opportunities, which would then increase the revenue for the BVV itself as well. And finally, the crowd sensor movements could also be extrapolated to improve the efficiency of Brno's public transport system itself by reorganizing routes for higher efficiency, for example. When it comes to our second example, which would be autonomous cars, our test track would be an extremely valuable resource to test risk sensors in very closed conditions and very controlled conditions. And successful testing could then be complemented with city-scale testing inside the whole location of the BVV, as when there are no fairs going on, we would have access to the whole city-like structure of the BVV as well, and we could make very good use of it. And when it comes to our final example, the smart city applications, we could have, for example, road sensors to determine car flows and recognize road bottlenecks, which we could then tackle as a city. And finally, we could also have level sensors applied to trash bins, for example, which would then signal the responsible authorities when the containers are full, which would allow us to much better improve the system collection, the city collection of waste, and also improve the Smart City Brno initiative as a whole. All in all, our plan is very sustainable in the economic and practical point of view because it respects both the initiative of the city, Smart City Brno, and the necessities of the BVV. And it would allow us to incorporate the principles of the IoT as well, and it would be structurally and managerially sound and economically as well. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, because this was a very quick overview, feel free to ask questions. We will clarify whenever possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's very hard to really react because it's quite complex your presentation, and really in very short period of time you can finish your presentation. I would like to just make very not so sensible but quick comment about very, how to say that, precise amount of money you counted. So it's quite strange because I don't know if you just counted or you just made it up. Sorry for that. And you have a fixed cost, and it's in euros. It's fixed.
No. Those are in
Czech crowns.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we didn't shoot random values. It's a very rough estimate, yes, but we didn't really have access to a lot of information. But what we did was, when it comes to initial costs, we went to European databases and also national databases, and we determined the average cost of a laboratory per square feet, for example. And then we extrapolated for the area of our laboratory, which would be approximately 10,000 meters. But we know that a typical laboratory only has 32% of its space utilized for lab equipment. And as such, we came up with a final value for the costs of the laboratory. And we went to the website of a typical construction company, and then we accounted for the area of demolition and the area of the building itself, and we counted those costs as well. And those three things summed together ended up with that final value. So the laboratory equipment, the reconstruction, and the demolition. And as for fixed costs, we established an initial staff of 5 administrative people and also a number of 10 technicians. This can be very off, we have no idea, but it was our rough initial estimate. But at least the final value would be around the same order of magnitude as the actual value, so it's a very good rough estimate, we think. And we also accounted for the average price of electricity and water of a typical laboratory, which we know is approximately 10 times higher than that of a typical office. We also found that on European databases, and then we came up with the rest of the costs in accordance. So it's a very rough estimate, but it's an idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
I have only one little problem with your project, is that it's perhaps too ambitious, because if you want to raise something down to ground and build something new and build a test laboratory, the idea is whether it needs to be on the exhibition center, because if you're building the brand new facility for testing and the building and employing the new staff, then the idea is why to do it on at the exhibition center, why not to do it somewhere elsewhere. So I would like to ask, what is the connection with the exhibition center? What are the benefits for the exhibition center, and how, on the other hand, how can the laboratory benefit from being at the exhibition center?
The thing is, we have a fixed structure for the laboratories to small-scale tests, but then we take use of the whole grounds of the fair, because it's like a model of a small city. And we can use it for a number of tests in real life conditions, with things that are not possible to build from the ground up. To build something like the fairgrounds would be impossible. And if we take use of the existing facilities when they are not in use in the primary activities of the fairgrounds, it would be a way to also use them and also make some money out of that use. And it would be a very good thing both for the fairgrounds and also for the laboratory, because it has access to a number of facilities which normal laboratories don't have, and it would be very good in that sense.
Just to complement, and also, as we mentioned, for example, the research, the sensors that are researched and approved inside the laboratory could be used by the BVV as well. For example, establishing sensors inside the buildings. For example, you mentioned in the tour that one big problem is fire escapes, for example, and that a certain amount of people is the maximum that can be in a certain pavilion. With sensors, we could track that amount in a much easier way, and also establishing, recognizing where are the optimum locations for food services, for example, could also improve the profit of the BVV as well.
And when you did the calculation for the estimated investment and fixed cost, did you do any calculation for the revenues?
No, simply because it's impossible to know what kind of how much those services would cost and how much revenue the laboratory would bring. We don't have enough data to do that revenues in a structured way like we did with the costs. It would be impossible to even establish an order of magnitude, I think.
Because the thing is, just to complement, the idea is that the research center would be an open ground for companies to test, and universities as well. But we would need to have different prices for universities and for small and medium enterprises, and then big companies, and we have no idea, and there's no accurate way of estimating which clients we would have at each time and how much of the laboratory would be in usage. So we thought about better determining the costs in the beginning and giving you an adequate estimate of the costs instead of trying to have some more guesswork and go for a rough revenues as well, which would be off by a lot probably. Yes, thank you very much.
Я маю передавати тоді? So we start? Hi, we're Team Natural Selection from Ukraine, and we have some interesting ideas to share with you. So all of us know the task, so let's jump straight into our solution. About location. We offer to locate the main office of laboratory right in the office center, and outside the pavilions we offer to locate the sensors of temperature and quality of air, also sensors that measure number and concentration of visitors and time spent on different exposition. Also, as a really ideal location for sensor that measure environment parameters is in the park area. Also, we should know who and why need this laboratory. Okay, first group is clients who develop these sensors, and the main supplier is CAX Research Center in Brno. Also, it can be such companies as Melexis and also Libellium. And the second group is Trade Fair Brno, and they can use the sensors to improve the effectiveness of their work. And also institution of secure technologies and engineering can use it to test the autonomous vehicles. And the one extra group is consists Ministry of Environment of Czech Republic and some similar private companies that can use it in area of environment protection.
And to connect all sensors and get data from it, we use wireless. It is the name of set of LPWAN, Open Wireless Technology Standards for exchanging data between base station, actually our laboratory, and thousands of devices around it. This technology also allows developers to build low-power wide area networks. And then when we get all that data, actually we need to make main statistic about it. And that's why we have a team of data scientists and analytics. They use all necessary tools and mathematical algorithms to map, to handle, and to visualize sufficient data to improve current situation.
Okay, talk about management of a laboratory. We need 30 people for minimal working laboratory, and it takes 2 floors with all staff and personnel. If we will have a lot of tasks, we will cooperate with Singapore and Zurich specialists, and they will help us. So the main question is who will pay for this all. I have a good answer for you. We suggest a consortium from Brno University, Brno City, Future Cities Laboratory, and other investors, and suggest a consortium. So the consortium will manage all projects in the laboratory.
We don't have a lot of time, so we need to sum up. We have 7 principles of Brno Smart City. This is openness, responsibility, modularity, thoughtfulness, effectiveness, diversity, and cleverness. And we basically answered all of them. By cleverness, I mean working with university, and once students can make their project and sell them later. Effectiveness is about using eco-friendly technologies, wireless technologies that will not harm the environment and will not lower the quality of life. Modularity is when you can keep the system up to date permanently, all the time. Openness, we will create a lot of startups, and a lot of investors from other countries too would like to invest here. So basically, we have all the technologies, we have all the support, and we have a beautiful place to build it. So what are you waiting for? So any questions maybe?
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask if you thought about the surroundings of the area. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, basically the thing is, can you please show the slide? Just a second, so it's gonna be easier. It's Czech language. Okay, unfortunately we don't know that. The second one. Okay, so our main idea was to put the main office right out there, where there are offices buildings. We know that they are there. Actually, we don't need a lot of space for the laboratory. We just need server room and a place for 30 people, basically. I mean, you know, that's not a lot. And about sensors. We are making this park basically a large, huge experiment field, when you can put sensors basically everywhere you want. Depending on the type of sensor and the like when you need to use it, you can put it everywhere. You could put it on the trees, you could put it on the buildings, on the front, on the ground, on whatever you want. Did I get your question right? Good, thank you.
I have only one question. I would like to ask, what is the key role of the fox here?
Well, it's smart. And it's cute.
Okay, hello everyone. We are Poland case study team. My name is Mikołaj Górzyński. Here is Radosław, Grzegorz and Jakub. And we all believe Brno is a beautiful city with huge technical potential. To develop it even further, we designed a program we called Brno Plus, a true smart city. We plan to make a modular device with BVV that will consist of wristbands with GPS and IMU sensors based on algorithm, based on machine learning algorithm that will allow image processing much easier than ever before because it will be using additional data from GPS locations. We make our device modular, so beside the main components like camera, internet connection, and waterproof casing, you will be able to adjust it to your needs. We plan to storage our data in the cloud system and to cooperate with Brno small companies and startups. But what are its features? First of all, mobility, because of its small size. Next, it's universality, because of its modularity. It could be placed everywhere, outside and inside the buildings, in the whole city. It will be cheap, and it will allow for coverage of the whole city. About the usage. We plan to use BVV exhibition to test our working device for crowd monitoring, energy consumption, adjusting the lights, quality, air quality control like CO2 level, humidity, and temperature, and even car park space management. BVV off-season will be also busy because we'll be testing our sensors, improving our algorithms, and even testing autonomous trams and cars with our partners. We won't be alone. We want to cooperate with technology companies, startups from Brno Incubator, and of course Brno University of Technology, because we believe it's a huge opportunity for students to develop our project and make it even better. But what about the city? When we implement our system in the city, it will be much safer because of the crowd management. It will provide open source data for the companies in Brno for further development. It will give citizens useful information about parking spots free in the center of the city, for example. It will give information about air quality in the whole city. The city will be provided with information about water and electricity usage. It will be provided with information about urban development because of the traffic information, and will be able to control it easier than ever before. We also plan to develop an app with the information about the Brno for its citizens that will allow them to take part in advanced development program to make smart city for everyone. To sum up, we are providing open source raw data for the Brno companies. We are making safety our top priority. Our device is easy to implement. It doesn't interfere with the facilities of the city. It's effective because it's based on reliable algorithm. It will provide specialized solutions because of cooperating with other companies. And we are also planning to use existing interface of the city, like CCTV cameras, GPS localizators in trams and buses. And that's our vision of the Brno Plus.
Presentation. Would you please give us how the system will work with the sensors, because I got the idea that every citizen will wear the sensor. That's probably not the right idea.
No such time to tell about it earlier. So we plan, because the exhibition area is small, and we know how much people are in there. So we will make them wear wristbands with GPS locators, and we'll have these machines we talked about with cameras in the whole area. So when we have the image of the, let's say, space that is crowded, we know actually how many people are there because of the wristbands. So we are just we want to compare two pictures of the empty square and with the crowd, and with information how many people are there. We can only by comparing implement the system when we only have cameras, because we know that the area and the density of the crowd we are looking at. So actually it's much simpler than this technology that we have now, that it's about image processing that is tracking everyone, and it's easily, you know, it needs a lot of computer power.
And later on in the city, as the coverage of like crowd, like how many people are in the areas, is going to be based only on the images from cameras. The cameras, the algorithm will learn about the percentage of like crowded in the space, and later it's going to be only based on cameras. So in the BVV is going to be only for developing the system, the wristbands.
I will only repeat it to ensure that I get it right. You want to, on the BVV, develop the system, and you will learn the system to work better at the whole town, whole city. That's
Yes,
the idea.
that's
Yeah.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello everybody. We're Singularity, case study team from Greece. I'm Alexis. Our main objective for today was an sensory laboratory for Brno exhibition hall. Our main ideas for that was active noise reduction, photovoltaic panels, smart weather sensors, camera counting system, social Wi-Fi, and augmented reality. We included the three last ones, and we divided them into three phases.
So my name is Aris, and I'm going to present you phase one. Phase one suggests contemporary technology. It suggests using cameras to count the number of people entering or leaving an infrastructure. Okay, we can use this at an early stage for the main exhibition areas, including pavilion, maybe A, B, and P. At the second stage, we can add, of course, much more installations in the facilities. The main installation for the servers of the that will collect the data could be accommodated in the IT department of the center. Okay, so why this technology? Why counting the number of people entering or leaving an area? That also counts the density of people at an exhibit, at a certain exhibit. We can count the density of people stopping at an exhibit, the density of people, and the population's flow. We can see what interests more at the most the visitors. So, of course, this is the stepping stone for phase 2 and 3 and for many other technologies. So, the data we suggest that the data will be open to the public, so including both of attracting investors because data who seek data for their main exhibits, and also this also suggests that we can start creating an openness of the data. At the next stage, we can use phase 2 and phase 3, and that's all for phase 1. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tassos. I'll tell you about phase 2, which is the use of social Wi-Fi networks. Another way of collecting data for people visiting exhibition centers is the use of social Wi-Fi networks. Every time a guest enters the center's public Wi-Fi, the system asks permission to gain access to some of the guest's personal info, like gender, age, profession, etc. Information that someone may have on his social media account. Combining these data with the ones getting from the people camera counter people camera, companies can adjust their marketing strategies and sales towards specific target people. For example, if Skoda, if yesterday Skoda had an exhibition, for example, and 500 people came, if 300 of them were above 70 years old, Skoda can adjust their advertisements toward older people, like say it's easier to use or more comfortable for them. Okay. All the data collected from the cameras, the sensors, and the networks are concentrated to the servers at the IT building of the exhibition center, and they are sent every day to the University of Brno to get analyzed. After they get analyzed, the data are sent. The results of the analysis are sent back to the university and can either used to the exhibition center. Sorry, and can either used for profit or to make partnerships with companies. Last but very important, when all guests are connected to the same Wi-Fi network, they get notified all together in case of emergency and get directions to a safe place through their network.
Hello, I'm Dimitris, and I'm going to talk about AR technologies at the exhibition center. AR technologies are not widely spread at the moment, but it's a developing field. The visitors can have tablets, like in the picture, or even glasses, and they can adjust the exhibition, the exhibits, to their individual needs and personalization. Of course. They can personalize. For example, they can change the color in a car exhibition. They can look at a car and change the color or the interior, or maybe look at some info about the car through AR. About the smart city, the exhibition center can work as an incubator about the developing technologies of the sensor, which then can be implemented at the city of Brno. And about Internet of Things requires Wi-Fi everywhere, and our social Wi-Fi program provides Wi-Fi everywhere. So our advantage of that is that the sensors are all intertwined and connected with each other, so they can adjust their battery longevity. I mean, they don't have to transmit data all the time because they are all connected, so the battery of the sensors can last longer. So, thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask about some financing. Have you thought about that, some finance model? Thank you.
Okay, about financing, our suggestions are not that expensive to do. I mean, there is a Wi-Fi network everywhere, but you have to use it the right way, and collecting data isn't that hard. The data analysis is the expensive thing, but we send it back to the University of Brno, so it's probably for free, and they can benefit from that because they can make like a lesson or a subject like data analysis. So that's it. That's not that hard. As referring to the cameras, okay, the cameras is an expense that can drive us to partnerships with companies by sending the data, as I said, the example with Skoda or something like that. So it's sorry, it's not that expensive. Sorry. Thank you very much.
I have one question. How do you think you can get the data from the social network? Because I think those data just belong to the people and to the companies like Facebook, and so you think about some special way how to get this data?
Thank you for your question. We thought about that. We thought that in order to get the free Wi-Fi that will be provided from the exhibition center, they will have to gain access from their Facebook account, for example, from the social network account, which asks about permission, about basic data permission, meaning like gender, age, and profession. So they will accept, and they will, and of course, one other advantage of that would be that we could provide them free Wi-Fi in order to warn them for their safety and regulation. So that is another advantage of letting them know that they can use the free Wi-Fi.
So idea is that they will get some basic data about, say, age, sex, profession, sensitively asked by the company in exchange for some advantages, for example, free Wi-Fi access and such. Okay.
Another advantage that you mentioned is that if you are connected to the Wi-Fi and there is an emergency somewhere, you can get notified.
And I have one, not perhaps the question, but just the comment on monitoring the density of the people, because here you are touching perhaps the completely brand new business model, because as an exhibition company, I'm not quite sure if we would like the exhibitors to know which stands were attended and which were not, because perhaps they would they may demand the price reflect the number of the visitors, but perhaps maybe that's the right thing to ask by them. I mean, perhaps that's the future of the exhibition marketing, to sell not the area but to sell the visitors.
Yes. Any questions? Thank you.